The message that I'm going to give you in this video is going to either blow your mind or it's going to be really hard to accept. But being angry is completely okay. I know. Oh my God, no. Why did you say that? For someone to be angry and express that anger, it is completely okay. Now, I want to make this very, very clear. I'm in no way suggesting that someone who would use that anger and project it out in a way that would harm others is acceptable. That is not what the message is here. In no way am I saying that violence is okay. And in no way I'm suggesting that it's okay to use violence towards someone else in a way that's going to hurt them or that it would be a detriment to them. We human beings have societies. Those societies have beliefs, they have rules, they have ways of being. And because we're a relationally dependent species and herd species, we're social creatures, it makes sense that as human beings, we would all get together and go like, hey, you know what? Let's be in a certain type of way. And then whenever some of the members of society are not in that way that is agreed on by society, it's not uncommon that they would get taken out of society. Now, with us being relationally dependent species, social creatures and herd species, if that was to happen to us, we would go to annihilation because we are not the type of species that can survive on our own individually. A newborn infant would die 100% of the time on their own. So we're not actually wired to be able to survive on our own. That's why we feel the way we do when we are rejected, because that rejection takes us towards the feeling of annihilation and why we crave connection. That connection is what's taking us closer to survival. So it makes sense that people will try their best to behave in a certain way so they are not rejected by the herd in order to then go towards annihilation. And annihilation is death. And remember, we've not evolved for the world that we've built. We've not evolved for the street and the cars and the lampposts and the houses and the financial system and the government. We're still cavemen. It's just we're cavemen that have built all of this. We're still herd species. So if one of the members of the herd was to be rejected from the herd, it would be very, 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 very unlikely that they would survive on their own because of all the animals around, all the insects, all the diseases, everything that could possibly happen to this one individual that needs to do everything themselves, which would lead to death, as well as not having that social interaction mentally and just being left on your own, which will lead to insanity. So however you look at it, by being rejected by the way that we've evolved, we still feel that annihilation because we know what could come up. As children, our first social circle is our herd. This is the family circle that you are in as a child. And that herd might reach out to cousins, uncles, aunties, friends of the family, depending on the relationship you have with them. So by being rejected from our herd, we would feel annihilation. And remember, society has ways of being. The societal beliefs, the societal behaviors that are expected for people to behave in a certain way. Otherwise, we reject them. That doesn't mean that societal beliefs and behaviors are necessarily healthy. For example, in the UK, the culture is very much to do with drinking a buttload of alcohol for any celebration, to the degree where drinking alcohol itself is celebrated by someone necking a pint. Everyone around them gets really happy and cheers and celebrates. That is not healthy behavior. There are other behaviors in terms of how we treat each other that are also extremely unhealthy. Our emotional pain comes from rejection of parts of ourselves through invalidation of the realities that we are experiencing in those moments. And because in society still today, the main parenting style is good behavior reward, bad behavior punishment, we are brought up in a way where our caregivers are more focused on correcting behavior than they are of understanding why that behavior exists in the first place. And then through that understanding, working towards resolution. And what that does is, in a moment a child would be angry or expressing anger, we would get scolded for it because we're not behaving in the way that is expected. And the scolding is punishment. In the punishment, we are rejected. And again, if I'm rejected from my herd, I go towards annihilation. Feeling that annihilation, I learn that the angry parts of myself are not okay. The angry parts of me are being grossly invalidated when my caregivers are more focused on correcting behavior instead of understanding why these parts of me are angry. why I'm angry. And through that invalidation and the rejection, I have to survive as a herd species. So I have to maintain my connection to the herd. And if I'm learning that being angry is not acceptable and I will be rejected for that, then I will reject the angry parts of myself in order to maintain the connection that I require for my survival to the herd. But as a consequence of doing that, I have to invalidate and reject the angry parts of myself. I have to suppress these parts of myself. They're still within my being. It's not like they disappeared. I'm just constantly keeping them at bay. And then that happens many, many times throughout our lives. And I learn again, oh, I need to also keep this one at bay and suppress this one and make sure this one doesn't come out. And now it's all building. And all of these parts of me that are expressing anger, I learn to constantly invalidate and suppress them because my herd won't accept me otherwise. And then it's very common that at times there's going to be little pop-ups of explosive anger, or that might come out as a passive-aggressive way of speaking to people. And it could also manifest into some form of disease, because these parts of me that are angry that I've learned to suppress and reject and push down are constantly trying to express what they are. Angry, frustrated. All of this is happening because we have all been brought up in society in a way that our caregivers and their caregivers and their caregivers were more focused on correcting behavior instead of understanding why that behavior exists to then work towards resolution. Those experiences that everybody is going through teaches us that being angry is not okay. We are learning through the experiences that we all had because of societal behaviors that being angry is not okay. And because our reality is a mirror of us, whenever we see someone else that will express anger or be angry, it will trigger the unsafety of anger within us. So think of it. Now we're all these humans on this planet that we call Earth that have all learned that being angry is wrong. So then whenever someone expresses anger, everyone's like, no, stop it, because it's triggering all of the wounds within ourselves. And then this other person over there is going to be, and then everyone's going to be like, no, stop. So no, you can't be angry. No, you can't. And no one now in this society, globe that we call Earth, all these humans have learned that it's not okay to be angry. And whenever someone is angry, it's bringing up all of their own wounds and they're feeling annihilation because it's bringing them back to their own angry parts. So now we're all kind of just stuck in this thing where we're just constantly forcing each other to suppress the anger that we hold within ourselves. But anger is not bad. It's not wrong. It's an emotion. You are an emotional being. There is no emotion that is wrong or bad. If you or anyone else would suggest or think that any emotion is wrong or bad, it's because you have been taught that it is wrong or bad. Through that teaching, you invalidate these parts of yourself. This is what is causing you your pain, the invalidation of these parts. Anger has benefits like every other emotion. And you might be able to say, well, no, there are good or bad emotions. I don't like feeling fear. Fear is a bad emotion. No, it's not. Fear has its benefits. If there's a car coming at you 90 miles an hour and you can see it, fear will make you jump out of the way and it will save your life. If you're walking on the edge of the mountain, fear will make you so much more careful and you will go through understanding everything that you need to do in that moment in order to survive. So because fear has benefits, we cannot define it as bad. Anger will stop a behavior that is happening to you that is not okay with you. It might be crossing your boundaries. It might be an extremely abusive behavior that needs to stop. And again, because anger has its benefits, we cannot define it as bad. Yes, it can be undesirable. Emotions can be undesirable. I don't like it when I feel this emotion. That's okay. But when you start labeling it as bad, you are rejecting the parts of yourself that you've learned to and had to reject in the moments where you expressed anger and we invalidated them, when we pushed them down, when we suppressed them. By simply labeling it as bad, or wrong, we're not able to get to these parts of ourselves. We're automatically, unconsciously, continuously rejecting all of these parts of ourselves. There is nothing wrong with being angry. You can express your anger. And yes, you live in a time where everyone around you will not be okay with that. So go and express it on your own. Go to your bedroom and punch the shit out of your bed. Put the mattress up against the wall, punch it, scream into the pillow. Do whatever you need to do, because these parts of you want to get out. And you're going to ask, well, in order to manifest the reality that I want, or in order to be the way that I want, I don't want to be angry anymore. So shouldn't I not be angry? Well, yes, but the path of not being angry isn't through suppressing your anger. The path of not being angry is through releasing the anger, allowing yourself to feel how you feel so you can release that emotion from your being. And you might be in a place where you've suppressed a lot of anger, a lot of frustration. You hold a lot of resentment. And that's understandable because of the experiences you've been through. But suppressing them doesn't mean that they've disappeared and they're gone and you're not angry. It's just you're not aware of the anger. And that's how it comes out in an extremely passive aggressive way as well. The path to not being angry so you can be who you want to be, whether that's to manifest the reality that you want or not, is through releasing that anger. And once you felt that anger, once you've gone deep into it and allowed yourself to think any thoughts without trying to change, feel how you feel without trying to change it, then you are connecting to these rejected parts of yourself. After the outburst of anger that you have, which is healthy and okay, in your own space, in your own safe space, sit down with it. Allow yourself to feel whatever comes up and explore the communication that's coming to you. Do that now. After this video, go to a place where it's just you and allow yourself to release the suppressed anger that's within you, but also stay with it. Stay with it as long as you can. Sit down after the explosion, after you start beating the crap out of your bed. Sit down with it. Stay there. Close your eyes. Go within. Understand what this part of you is trying to tell you. Society's belief that anger is not okay is one of the most unhealthiest things we are doing as human beings, because it keeps all of us in this state where we're constantly suppressing and rejecting and invalidating these parts of ourselves that are in pain. It's okay to be angry. This is something new you have to learn and unlearn, that it's not okay to be angry. Go and do it now and discover what you need to know in this moment.